Good day YouTube, welcome back to a new video. The previous video was about this first female serial killer, Daisy the Melker. This one is another South African killer, not serial can you say. This video is about Moses Sithole, also known as the ABC killer. Let's get started. Moses Sithole, born 17 November 1964, is a South African serial killer and rapist who committed the ABC murders. It is believed that he is so named because they began at the Reykjavik, continued in Boksburg, and finished in Cleveland, a suburb of Johannesburg. However, many other sources state that the cities were not in that order, rather beginning in Cleveland, continuing in Boksburg, and finishes in Goodwill, something like that. I can't say that word. So technically it is a CBA killer. This has not been denied nor confirmed. Sithole murdered at least 37 women. Okay, he is also a sicko. And one toddler between 16 July 1994 and 6 November 1995. Sithole was sentenced to 2,410 years imprisonment and is currently incarcerated in Magen Correctional Center in Bloemfontein. Early life. Moses Sithole was born on 17 November 1964 in Vosloorus, a township near Alberton, Transvaal Province, now Gauteng. When he was 5 years old, his father died and his mother abandoned the family. Sithole and his siblings spent the next 3 years in the orphanage, where he later said they were mistreated. By his own account, Sithole was arrested for rape in his teens and spent 7 years in prison. He later blamed his imprisonment for turning him into a murderer. He explained his crimes by saying that the woman he murdered all reminded him of the woman who had falsely accused him of rape years before. Murders. Sithole appeared to be a mild-mannered individual for those around him. At the time of his crimes, he was managing a cell organization, Youth Against Human Abuse, or it'll be YIHA, ostensibly devoted to the eradication of child abuse. After committing murders in Gatesville near Pretoria, Sithole moved his focus to Boksburg and eventually to Cleveland. By 1995, he had claimed over 30 victims, sparking nationwide panic. In some cases, he would later phone the victim's family for no other apparent reason than to taunt them. At one point, President Nelson Mandela visited Boksburg in person to appeal for public assistance in apprehending the killer. Most of his victims were being interviewed for positions of Sithole as charity. Sithole would take them to remote fields where he would beat, rape, and murder them. They were generally strangled with their underwear. He once inflicted a head wound on the 2-year-old son of one of his victims and left him to die from exposure. Capture. In August 1995, Sithole was identified as having been seen with one of the victims, but he disappeared shortly after SAPS or South African Police Services investigators learned details of his previous rape conviction. In October 1995, Sithole contacted South African journalist Tamsin de Beer and identified him as the wanted murderer. Contacted, sorry. During a phone conversation with de Beer, he said that the killings were carried out in revenge for his unjust imprisonment and claimed 76 victims. Twice as many as those reported. Finally, to prove his identity, Sithole gave directions to where one of the bodies had been left. Local authorities subsequently cornered Sithole in Johannesburg, shooting the suspect when he attacked a constable with a hatchet. Sithole was driven to the hospital where he found out to be HIV positive and also tested positive for TB, tuberculosis. Trial and imprisonment. After the beer was subpoenaed, she testified at the Pretoria High Court where her evidence was key in the conviction of Sithole. On 5 December 1997, Sithole was sentenced to 50 years imprisonment for each of the 38 murders. So it is 50 times 38, 12 years imprisonment for each of the 40 rapes, so 12 times 40, and 5-year imprisonment for each of 6 robberies, so then it will be 5 times 6. Since his sentences run consecutively, his total effective sentence is 2,410 years. So that will be the total. Justice David Lewis ordered that Sithole would be required to serve at least 930 years before being eligible for parole, making him eligible for parole at age 963. We will do it from now. The judge also told Sithole that if capital punishment was still used, he would have been sentenced to death. Sithole was incarcerated in CMAX, the maximum security section of Pretoria's Central Prison. He is currently incarcerated in Mangang Correctional Center in Bloemfontein. Thanks for watching. Please wait for my next video where it will not be a killer in South Africa. Please subscribe. I saw there's 0 subscribers. Thanks for making out this video. Maybe I will have gained. Hopefully. But thanks for watching. I see you in the next video.